In a previous video, we introduced you to Unicode Scalars, and we looked at how many Unicode Scalars there are in each letter and in a string and so on. But this video, if you haven't seen that video, then check that one out. But this video is going to dive more deeper into the individual Unicode Scalars, how we can create them, how we can use them, how we can detect what type of Unicode Scalar it is, etc., etc. So this is going to be a bit of a deeper dive into it, but not an exhaustive dive into it. All right, there'll still be questions left open, which I'm going to try and answer in other videos. So with that said, let's clear all of the previous data and let's jump straight into it. So what we want to know here is, first of all, is the letter D. Let's start with that. Now, in ASCII, letter D is number 68. Now, for us to be able to do this, we need to say Unicode Scalar and create this letter using a Unicode Scalar, okay? Because characters or strings are built up with characters and characters are built up with Unicode Scalars, okay? And a Unicode Scalar a character, let's say, can have multiple Unicode Scalars. It doesn't have to have one. So when we look at the string count, it can be that there's 5 letters in it. So it can be that there's 5 letters in it, but if there are like emojis or something in there, then there can be more Unicode Scalars than there are characters. So it's important to understand, based upon a memory standpoint, how much memory it's taken up, not how many characters it's taken up. So this is the idea behind this, is all about how much memory. Now, when we instantiate a Unicode Scalar, it's an optional. So just for the sake of purposes, we are using the force unwrap, all right? Because we don't need some form of if-let statement here. Okay, so now if we look at this, you can see that it is, yes, a Unicode Scalar. And when we print this out, let's just say letter, and the string interpolation will know, wait a minute, I've got a Unicode Scalar here, I'm going to convert it to a character, and a character, I'm going to pump it out, and it's going to be the letter D, because that's the matching string representation of a Unicode Scalar stroke character, and so on. Now, if we have this Unicode Scalar and we just say a value, we want the actual value, the intrinsic value of it, which is is 68, all right? Now, the intrinsic value is actually 8 bits, but that to be put into base 10 is then 68, all right? Now, if we want to be able to detect what type this is, and I don't mean like, is it an integer or is it a string, just like what kind of Unicode Scalar is it? Is it a letter? Is it a symbol? Is it something like that? We can dig a little bit deeper into this, right? And we got then properties of the Unicode Scalar itself. And if we look at the is here, you can see is emoji, is radical, is extender, is lowercase, is uppercase. So let's just have a quick look at letter.properties.is uppercase, and you can see true. And then if we look at, I don't know, just another one, is cased, what that say, that says true as well. And then just for the sake of the other one, is it radical? And it is false. You know, and if you want to see what a Boolean value indicating whether the scalar is a radical component, taught by blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this is another thing that you can do. However, if you want to know whether it is a letter or is it a number and so on, this is where we have to then we have to start using characters. Now, this is not a lesson about characters, but what we can instantiate a character with is a Unicode Scalar, okay? And from here, we can then turn around to this and say, is this a letter? Is it a number? Is it a symbol? Is it a new line? Is it uppercase? Is it lowercase? Is it white space, punctuation, etc., etc.? Is it a math symbol? Is it a whole number? We've now got the option to be able to get a lot more detail from it, and whether or not it is ASCII. And you can see that it is actually ASCII here. So there are other use cases where it could be something different. And that difference would be with the likes of emojis and so on. So if we start looking at a heart, now we can use hexadecimal for this, excuse me. So we can just say here, Unicode, Unicode.scalar once again, and we instantiate this now with hexadecimal to give us a heart symbol. And so let's change this now to this instead and see what it says here. And you can see here that the letter is then 10,084. And is it an ASCII? No, it's not an ASCII because it's not in the ASCII table. Now, predominantly ASCII table that goes up to 255, but there are been other symbols and whatever added on, and I'm not totally certain now. Yeah, there's lots of to do with this. Okay, so we know that the heart is definitely not going to be in the ASCII table because it takes up way too much space to be able to do it. It's supposed to only take up 8 bits to be in the ASCII table. So we can now see that it is another type, right? And we can, to be able to do this, we can now look at the properties once again and say, is it an emoji, right? And when we run this once again, we can see the type is an emoji. So if you are going to loop round some text, for example, we can start by checking based upon the Unicode scalar how many scalars it has, and if it has more than one, then you know it's possibly going to be something else, and that's what we looked at in the previous video. But in order to really see what type it is, you can put that inside of a character, as we just showed here. We can put that inside of the character, and then we can start seeing whether or not it is a currency symbol, is a letter, lowercase, a number. So if in doubt, you want to know what type that one Unicode scalar is, give it back to, or you have to make sure you take all of the scalars too, give it back to a character, and it will then tell you what type it is. So is it punctuation? Of course, the type is not going to be punctuation because it's a letter D, right? But if we turn around here and put a comma in here, and you can see now that is it punctuation is true. So this is basically, we used a Unicode scalar for it, but here we're just using a normal character in a string literal, let's call it, within quotation marks. So this is another introduction to you for Unicode scalars and roughly what you need to understand about it. Now there is a lot more to understand about Unicode scalars, and I would recommend checking out the documentation. If that's the type of thing that you like doing on a Friday evening, then do that on a Friday evening. It's a super interesting read. If you can see the sarcasm on my face, you would understand. But if you want to start learning about characters and strings and string indices and so on, at one point you're going to start seeing like things like Unicode scalars and something coming into it. So this is why I've started talking about this at like 27th video or something, or 28th video, whatever this is, because it is a little bit in depth. And in the beginning, you would seem to think that a string is a collection, just the same as it is an array in other programming languages, but strings are their own special, unique type in Swift, and they are built upon these Unicode scalars, sequences, and also, so this is why we're doing this. We're building up to what a string actually is, and in order to do that, we have to start at the Unicode scalar. With that said, we're still very looking at this very abstract, and like I said, I'm not a super expert on this topic, but I'm trying to enhance my knowledge by teaching it to you, and I will make additional videos about these topics in order to be able to exhaust this information and to be able to fully explain it without you having to dive through the documentation. With that said, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and if you do have any questions or any enhancements that I could make on this one video or future videos, please feel free to put them in the comment section down below. I will take them on with great pleasure. Okay, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao, and goodbye.